Hey guys, it's Freeman91, and I'm talking about the PlayStation Classic. Now, if you guys who are familiar with my channel know, I talked about this before when they were announcing it. They only had 5 games, and I said which games I wanted. But now they have said which games will be coming to the PlayStation Classic. It's a list of 20 games. I will not be reading them because I'm just going to leave a link in the description. Y'all can read them at your own discretion. But here's the thing. When I think about PlayStation, I think about Legend of Dragoon. I know that wasn't one of the biggest selling games on PlayStation, only sold over 1 million copies, but still. And I think about like Final Fantasy VII, obviously, that's coming to it. And you think about other games, but certain games like Intelligent Cube, Mr. Driller, those aren't games I think about. And they're coming to the PlayStation Classic. Guess what games aren't though? No Crash Bandicoot games. No Spyro the Dragon games. No Legend of Dragoon. And I'm missing a big JRPG presence here. I didn't own a PlayStation, but my cousin did. And we live like right down the street from each other or really close. And I used to play his PlayStation a lot. And a lot of these games that I was looking forward to aren't there. Yes, they have the original Grand Theft Auto, but they don't even have any of the Tomb Raiders. And before y'all say, well, you didn't own the system, let me just say this. The top 10 best-selling PlayStation games, out of all of them, only 2 of them are going to be on the Classic. That's Final Fantasy VII, and that is the original Metal Gear Solid. So when that's happening, something's wrong. And I want to focus on Crash, because especially leaving out Crash really just, it says something, because Crash at one point was as Mario to Nintendo and as Sonic to Sega. Crash was like the mascot for PlayStation at one point. When you saw PlayStation commercials, a lot of times you saw that guy, I believe, in the Crash Bandicoot suit, like that one, I think, where he went to Nintendo's headquarters with a megaphone. I saw that on Spawn's video, I think. So, yes, to not have Crash is a big thing. That's like having the SNES Classic with no Super Mario World. That's like having the original NES Classic with no Mario Brothers. That's what it's like. IGN did point out in one of their articles, I think, that it may be, I think the title was like, it may be because of all the remakes, and I think that's a big part of it. I think a lot of these companies did not want to put their games, like the Crash Bandicoot series had that remake, so they probably didn't want to put it back on the Classic. So personally, I think that it is true that some of these remakes, they don't want to put their older versions of the games on the console because they want to sell the remakes. They don't want to sell them on like the Classic or whatnot. But still, to miss out a good number of games, which I believe are like the staples of your system, just kind of shows me that this Classic seems like it's going to be half-hearted. What do I mean by that? Well, it's like Super Nintendo was missing Chrono Trigger, yes, and I'm sure the NES Classic was missing some really good games, but I feel like both of them still had a lot of the core games there. Like Super Nintendo still had Super Mario World, it still had Street Fighter 2, which was basically, if you owned a Super Nintendo, like most of the people owned Street Fighter 2 with that system. So I just think this is kind of like a half-hearted attempt, like especially with no Crash Bandicoot there. Even if you forget Spyro, you forget Tomb Raider, you forget a lot of the JRPGs, I just think that there are a lot of really big games that just aren't making it to the Classic. And maybe it is because of the remakes, such as Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 is the 11th best-selling game on the PlayStation system, but they're having that remaster of it come out eventually. So it is possible that even though Resident Evil 1 is going to be on the Classic, they didn't want 2 on the Classic because they don't want to like compete with people buying the Classic or people buying the remaster. Perhaps that's it. I don't know. But it still feels kind of like a half-hearted attempt, like PlayStation just trying to, bring it out and not fighting, I guess, for a lot of the bigger games that people want. But what do you guys think? Look at the list. Tell me whether you think it's okay, whether you think the list of games is good, or whether you think they are kind of holding back or whatnot, or just not pushing as much for those games that a lot of people want on the Classic system. And do you think that remasters have anything to do with a lot of games, such as the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, not appearing on the Classic? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and may God bless you all.